Welcome to my channel. Before starting the video, please go ahead and hit the subscribe button and give this video a like up. The former Women's World Champion made her main roster debut with Ruby Soho, FKA Ruby Riott, Valhalla, FKA Sarah Logan, and the Riott Squad after almost 3 years in the NXT. After 2 years of working together, the trio parted ways in 2019 when Morgan signed up with SmackDown, while her colleagues stayed with Raw. The 30-year-old had a short spat with Soho upon her subsequent return to Raw, but in 2020, the two reunited and created the Riott Squad again. But when Soho's contract was terminated around a year later, they split up once more. Morgan expressed her shock and sadness at the news that WWE was disbanding the Riott Squad in an interview she gave to No Contest Wrestling not long ago. She made it clear that she and her ex-partner still loved one another and saw a lot of potential in their relationship. Ruby Soho became a member of AEW after her release in 2021. Despite Valhalla's 2020 dismissal as well, she made a triumphant comeback to WWE in 2021. She is now on maternity leave after her time with Riott Squad. And speaking of main roster female WWE superstars, Liv Morgan is currently among the best. She became a member of the Judgment Day last year after winning the Women's World Championship. At WrestleMania 41, the 30-year-old will participate in the Women's Elimination Chamber match for a chance at the Eradicators Championship after her loss against Rhea Ripley earlier this year. Superstar Liv Morgan of WWE is no newcomer to the spotlight. Her infectious enthusiasm and magnetic presence have won her legions of devoted followers throughout the globe. But when she discusses a recent event in her life, Morgan shows an unusual side. The vulnerable lady battling the intricacies of love and grief, hiding behind her ferocious wrestling character. Having just gone through a devastating breakup, Liv Morgan discusses her feelings in an exclusive interview. Behind the scenes of the Squared Circle, her walls were far more brittle than her admirers could have imagined. Despite her consistent strong appearance as a public figure, a flurry of intense emotion and genuine connection was how Liv experienced the relationship. According to her, "We just loved each other," as she describes the early days with a kind tone in her voice. It wasn't about the celebrity or the image, it was about two individuals who found comfort in one another's presence. She talks on how their time together was real, pure, and simple, unfettered by fame and the demands of their famously hectic life. They didn't hurry or impose their love on one another. There was no deliberate plan or attempt to make it work. Pure, unadulterated love. That's what it was. Morgan treasured this genuineness more than anything else. "What a unique bond we had. We were quite okay being ourselves. And I believe that was sufficient," she muses. However, Morgan is all too aware that love alone isn't sufficient at times. The relationship started to weaken due to other influences. Despite the strong connection they shared, Morgan has grown used to the spotlight as a WWE superstar. Just like other famous people, her private life was always being scrutinized. No relationship is immune to the strain of living in a society where every public and private moment is scrutinized by the media. "It seems like people always expected us to be flawless," Morgan explains. "Since we're always in the spotlight, people think we know what's best for them. The challenges that occur behind the scenes go unnoticed. International tours, rigorous training regimes, and packed schedules are commonplace for WWE performers. Long periods of absence from her boyfriend were inevitable for Morgan due to the continual travel. Distancing oneself physically simply made things worse emotionally. We were apart for quite a while," she remarks after a little pause. "Plus, I suppose that after being separated for a while, you begin to drift apart. You start to lose that connection over time, but it doesn't happen all at once." The emotional toll of juggling Morgan's personal life with her wrestling profession became apparent, no matter how hard she fought to keep the relationship together. They were irreconcilably separated by the physical and emotional distance. Many people who were following their romance were surprised by the separation. From the outside looking in, it seemed to be a great marriage. However, Morgan felt in her heart that the choice was essential, even if it hurt. It was as if someone had torn a piece of her from her when they split up, she says. We were very much in love with one another. But it's not always possible for love to sustain a relationship. It's difficult to put into words. But once things begin to fade, there's no way to stop them. The sadness was tangible. Morgan struggled to reconcile the vulnerability she was experiencing with the demeanor fans had grown to expect, since she had spent years developing her image as a strong, robust WWE superstar. People think I'm always strong, that nothing can break me, she adds, chuckling quietly. However, I must admit that I am no different than everyone else. This hurts. This is how I feel. And it's okay to be bad occasionally. Morgan struggled with emotions of grief and bewilderment in the wake of the split. The love that existed between them couldn't save them from the obstacles that drove a wedge between them. Knowing it wasn't due to a lack of care is the most difficult aspect, she muses. It was just too much for us to handle. Morgan has spent the months after the separation concentrating on herself. She has had to draw on her inner power both in and out of the ring, where she is famously strong. During her free time, she has pursued new interests, strengthened her social circle, and attended to her emotional and mental health. I've given a lot of thought to my identity outside of the ring, she remarks with contemplation. When you're a part of this crazy environment, it's easy to lose track of who you are. The importance of prioritizing my own well-being cannot be overstated. I can't love another person unless I love myself first. Morgan has also made no secret of her desire to recover and get help. She hopes her listeners will understand that it's normal to struggle and not always know the right thing to do. Healing isn't linear, she gives the description. I go between days when I feel powerful and days where I feel like I have to start over again. However, that is a component of the path. With that, I'm okay. Morgan has learned more about the meaning of self-acceptance as a result of her own personal development. I've learned that I don't need validation from anyone to be happy, she continues, her self-assurance with each syllable. The fact that I exist is sufficient. I should be loved. And the first step is to love oneself. Even though their love didn't endure, Morgan is thankful for it as she thinks back on the relationship. He will forever hold a unique and irreplaceable spot in my heart, she declares. Even though things didn't turn out the way we had planned, I will always cherish the times we spent together because we were meant to be. This is only the beginning of Morgan's adventure. The pain of the breakup is a part of her past, but it does not define who she is now. She is prepared to face her professional and personal futures with confidence. Although love was transient in this chapter, Morgan has a bright future ahead of her. We simply adored one another, she says in Finnish. And on occasion, that suffices. Liv Morgan is embracing the past hurts while looking forward to better days via her vulnerability, strength, and perseverance. In and out of the ring, her journey is far from over.